We
You can start.
are a group of 5 UMI students pursuing masters in business administration. Will be through the strategies. Will be taking PPPs can use to legitimize themselves in society, as well as the key issues to consider during market sounding in a PPP cycle. We refer PPP as a collaboration between governments and agencies and private sectors, which can be used to finance, build, and operate projects. In Uganda, we have the Uganda PPP Act 2015, which elaborates on the existence of PPPs through contracting parties, for instance, Ministry of Government and other public bodies. Examples of PPPs in Uganda, we have Bujagali Hydro, Kampala Ginger Expressway, but to mention but a few. Why we carry out PPP is to enable economic growth, reduce government expenditures, improve operational efficiency, and introduce private sector innovation, as well as improving service delivery. There are some key principles to consider during PPPs, which include value for money, public interest has to always come first. Transparency and accountability is key in order to win the interest and the trust of the public, as well as appropriate risk allocation between the government and private sector. I would invite my next colleague to take us through the strategies. Max is off, okay. Someone can take us on to the strategies. Members, Derek, Wilson, or Bruce, someone take us through the strategies. My 2 minutes already expired.
Okay. Strategies PPPs can adopt to increase their legitimacy in society. One being changes in policies and laws. This applies to the government that desires the services, the PPP project. Capacity building of local agencies, that is those that are in the community where the PPP is. Public committees, these will ensure monitoring and evaluation of the PPP in the due process. Improved legal frameworks. These help in the implementation and giving guidance within the law as the PPP project is being undertaken. Transparency and accountability through creation of a strong and unified entity to manage the relationships with private sectors. Then incentivized payment methods linked to performance, in the sense that it's after performance that the payments are delivered. Then balancing of interests, that is between the public interests, those are state interests, and the interests of the investors, that is the private sector, those who have invested in the PPP. In conclusion, public-private partnerships provide an important tool for governments seeking to expand and improve infrastructure and delivery of social services for their citizens, and can help boost economic growth and poverty eradication. Our next slide talks about market soundness in the PPP cycle. Market soundness in this regard is the interaction between a seller of financial instruments and one or more potential investors. And in this case, it's a way of introducing the desired PPP project by government to the potential investors. Market soundness is the main objective is to test the private sector's ability to assume risk that are to be transferred via the concession contract from public sector to the private sector. Throughout all the stages of the cycle, there are different market sounding activities that are conducted. Someone mute, such as assessing value for money potential, engaging to build market knowledge. All these activities take place during the PPP, during market sounding. The key areas to consider in market sounding will be discussed by my colleague, Bruce.
Thank you,
Bruce, are you
Derek.
there?
Thank you, Derek, for the work well done to elaborate well on market sounding. I'll take you through the key areas to consider in market sounding. One, viability, whether the proposed business scheme is actually viable to be undertaken by the government and if it is worth spending on the taxpayers' money. Then two, capability, where the private sectors will be able to achieve the requirements or if we assess their effectiveness to carry out the task. Then capacity, this one is where we assess the private sector on how best they can achieve what is required in the required time. That is to say, if they are smart. Then the maturity period of the project and the timing. The timing shouldn't either be too early or too late, since it is very key in project scheduling. Thank you, Tim. I'll take you to the next presenter who will take us.
Thank you, Bruce. I'll quickly take you through the steps to undertaking a successful market sounding. One, ensure that the exercise is in line with any relevant procurement rules. Thorough preparation for an interface within the market to get the most out of the exercise. It is also critical to consider market sounding exercise at an early stage in the project and consider the procurement appraisal process before formulating the procurement plans in detail. Critical to do background documentation and be clear about the issues to be discussed within the market as well. Clarity about the process to be used to select organization to help with the exercise. And also consider the use of a one-on-one format with the selected organization. It is also key that you involve more than one individual on the side of the public and be consistent about what you say to the respondents, and do not waste time receiving sales pitches while doing this exercise. The other step which is also key, do not restrict the scope of the market sounding in any way. Always aim for a broader selection, and do not use procurement language such as bidders while doing out or while carrying out the entire exercise. In conclusion, effective market soundiness can anticipate issues that could reduce market interest in projects, which significantly reduces risk of non-competitive procurement process. Thank you for listening to me, dear participants.
Thank you, Wilson.